Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us on Ubuntu channel. And this is Ubuntu channel live on Facebook, live on Twitter, on our X, and we are live on our website as well. Now, this is Let's Talk Politics, a program that used to come to you every Tuesday, but we have moved to Saturday so that we can actually delve into not only politics, but everything that involves current affairs in the borders of Zambia that has made noise over the week. And we come here to look at those issues and digest them and see how you also get to react to them and what our panelists think about the situation. Now, I am back with Wom Kelabai in the place. So Wom Kelabai, who has always been with us on Let's Talk Politics every Tuesday, but now we are on Saturday, and be sure to catch us every Saturday from now on, and we will no longer be airing on Tuesday. Wom Kelabai, good evening, and thank you so much for joining us this evening. Wom Kelabai, are you
Hello?
there?
Yes, I'm here.
Now, thank you. Now we can get you. Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening, viewers. For those who are listening, thank you to be back and thank you for having me.
Thank you. Remember, we are supposed to be on screen, talking to you on screen, but our situation right now cannot allow this load shading. Obviously, is taking us places that we have never thought we would ever be. But we have to continue with the program, and so we go on without our faces on the screens. But remember, this is Lawrence, and I'm with Bob Labai, as earlier introduced. Now, we have quite a lot of issues that have made noise, and I don't want to talk about things that are sounding so emotional faced. And I want us to go to the speech that His Excellency President Hakainde Hichilema gave in Parliament last week. And one thing that he brought out was the probability of Zambia not having elections for 8 to 9 years because of lacunas in the constitution. Uh, that particular subject seems to have squashed quite a number of people in the wrong areas, and reactions have been so rampant, and we've had all sorts of reactions. Umkelabai, first and foremost, let me try to get from you what you thought when the president mentioned this particular issue of lacunas.
Thank you so much, Rollins. Well, uh, the thing is, when you are not happy with anything that is coming from the head of state, anything, you will construe it differently. You will misinterpret his meanings, his words differently. Even when his intentions, when he stated whatever he mentioned about the lacunas, about the probabilities or the possibilities of having a leader that is hanging on to power, that would want to hang on to power, not him. He never referred himself to himself. He said, in the future, when we have somebody, if we don't do anything towards these loopholes or these legal challenges, or these in his own learned capacity, he called it lacunas. Yes, it could be a lacuna, and that's why the PF brought their butane just to fix the same lacunas or the same questions that today they are busy pointing at HH, that they are purporting that he was insinuating that he wants to hold on to power until 8 years or whatever. They've just misinterpreted it. They have taken it somewhere else. When the president, when he was barely talking about the constitution, the possibilities of doing something right now as they're in power, they want to find out the most easiest way or the cheapest way, cost-effective way of working with the constitution. If at all, there are issues that are not that are not that are hindering or that are not mentioned in the constitution. That's the president's word. He did not infer to say he himself he wants to hold on to power. He's talking now. People even went to the date of the elections, the August, the August elections. They're now talking about, no, this is not mentioned. It is not there. It's not a lacuna. This data is. People are spreading all this, and the reason why is because we, the Zambian people, would rather listen to pay attention to propaganda or rumors, of people that don't mean well. Because the opposition, in most cases, the opposition, whatever positivity the government has made, whatever the government has done, whether positive or negative, it is always misconstrued and it's always challenged. I have never heard the opposition saying this government on this part where you have given either free education, or when it comes to the rule of law, or it comes to democracy where they have enough, they have now be able to express themselves. They even have podcasts. They can do anything. They have so many TV programs on and there's freedom of expression in Zambia. People can insult, people can say all kind of things. We don't hear them saying anything pertaining to the positivity. All we hear is the opposite. No, we are being persecuted. When they commit a crime, when they break the law and the police visits them, they will rush to go and declare persecution. When they are simply giving a reason to be visited, they go on air. They know that when you say certain things, it is illegal, and they know the law, but they do it anyways, so that when they are visited, they claim that they are being persecuted, so that they can invoke that and spread the whole rumors everywhere in the whole country to say, these are the people who are championing the rule of law. Look at what they are doing. When they arrest, who told them that when you break the law, the current government cannot come and arrest you? So in my preamble, I would simply say this issue of lacuna have been taken out of proportion. The president never meant what they are busy now insinuating or spreading. These are lies. These are lies that are propagated so that they get sympathy to the public and point a finger at the current government or the president, say, these are his intentions. President HH, during that speech in parliament, never inferred on the lacuna as him wanting to come to hold on to power and for 8 years or 10 years that they claim he said. When what he said was the dangers, the possibilities, something that might happen if we continue, if we ignore. Yes.
Now, certain sections of the country feel the president is actually not in the right position to even comment about that, because before he became the president while in opposition, every attempt by the PF to amend some of these things in the constitution were met by resistance from the current president while he was in opposition. Why then is he interested in going to the constitution
he's not
again?
Interested. He's not interested. He's mentioning.
Well, he mentioned it and was telling parliament to look out for things like that and work on things like that. That is what he did.
And what's wrong with that?
The question is, listen, the question is, why is he now interested in having the constitution get amendments when he was in opposition, was so much resistant to the same thing? When PF say we want to amend this part, everything the UPNG would walk out.
The thing is, that time PF took an action and drafted the Bill 10. And with them, they wanted to eliminate the whole section, the whole article in the Constitution. Hence, the reaction and the negative, hence the bringing down or the of the Bill 10. This time around, we cannot give that example, compare that to what he merely mentioned in Parliament, and he never said, here is the law, now you do something about it. He simply advised, or he simply inferred to the parliamentarian to say, you are the people that are in charge with enacting laws. We have issues in our constitution that desire your attention, that needs your attention. You, the parliamentarian, need to come in and entertain and make laws that will stay or stand the test of time. He started giving examples, and that particular time, the context in which he was trying to say, the issue was, he was trying to put across was this issue of resignation at the last minute of those candidates, the candidates that are presidential, for example, candidate that they want to stand, and they are on the ballot, and then on the last minute, that person decides to resign for no apparent reason. Then the election will be what? Cancelled. That's what the current constitution says. And then you have to hold another, you have to find another candidate that is going to fill up the gap. These are issues that he was giving, just an example to say somebody who is power hungry, like Edgar Chagwa Lungu, who is power hungry. By coming back, it goes to show that he is power hungry. And he was simply saying, anybody, like either Edgar Lungu or anybody who is power hungry, once he's given this opportunity to be in power, and then there's this clause in the constitution that allows a member to withdraw at the last minute. This is what will happen. This can be abused. He was simply saying this might be abused. Therefore, he was telling the parliamentarian, the legislatures, not himself, legislatures, and the legislatures are comprises of many political parties. Okay? So, if that day comes where they bring the bill to discuss, definitely the opposition have the right to simply kill it the way they killed Bill 10 in the PF time. But what was the president was saying, it's not even supposed to be debatable right now. We're not supposed to bring it out like now, as though Mr. President was dreaming. I hear other people even insulting the president or mocking him. No, that's a dream. He shouldn't be dreaming or shouldn't be mentioning on the constitution. What? He's sworn to protect the constitution. What's wrong with him mentioning issues that are in the constitution that might contain some implications, bad implications to our democracy? So the president, in my opinion, it's not that I like him, I praise him. No. The context has been taken out of proportion by the people, especially the so-called learned people. I hear even learned people who are lawyers coming out to start condemning. You haven't heard the president saying those things you are busy purporting. Now you want to champion, to show that you are now the champion of constitutional law. You don't know anything. The president did not mean what you are saying. So, but Zambia, we are in a hurry of rushing and drawing conclusion before you could contextualize what the president was trying to say, or where was this statement coming from? What was his line of thinking? In what category was he saying? How did this come out to be mentioned during the speech? That is what people are looking at and they're avoiding. And I expect lawyers to read through, to listen to that speech, listen very careful, and know where the
Right.
so-called
Now,
the so-called
while
intention of
while
the
we
president came from.
while we are at it, let's throw in the debacles that we have heard of happening in the United Kwacha Alliance, that is UKA, and we well, just when the whole alliance seems to be gathering momentum, we are seeing pieces of the alliance falling off, and name callings have started already in the alliance. Uh, anything strange, anything unexpected, or probably you can say you saw it coming?
Well, we thank you so much, Lawrence, on this one. We saw this coming. Come on, guys. What was the objective, the main objective of the of the UKA, of the so-called alliance? What is it that they were standing in for? Why was UKA formed? UKA came out of bitterness. UKA was formed as a result of the defeat, the terrible defeat that of a president that of the terrible defeat, and at the same time came from the people that were so bitter that they tried by all means to decampaign the incumbent today before he even formed government. We saw how they were so against the incumbent today. And when he won by landslide, it proved to them that they were on the wrong side of the country. And now things are worse. They were so disappointed, and the only best way to hold on to some kind of recognition was to form some sort of alliance. Let's come together so we can now go. We can tell our people that we are not gone completely. We are still here. We are here to fight until we defeat this person that we ushered into office when we did not want him to. But the Zambian people spoke differently. So this same alliance had people who went in with mixed feelings as well. Even though they were going into it, they were going into the UKA legitimately with the knowledge. Yeah.
Don't you think it's unfair on some of these political parties that are in the UKA when you say they thought the incumbent will actually fail at some point, when in fact at the point when former president Edgar Lungu was trying to dispute elections, some of them in the UKA were in the forefront urging him to accept results, urging him to move out and allow the winner, that is the incumbent, to take over the reins. And also, if you look at presidents like Shalakateka, I think she was very vocal in actually telling off the PF to say, move out. We have accepted the results. HH has won. So is it not that fair for you to say they thought that he's going to fail?
Yeah. No, I agree. That's why I told you to say there are some of the people that came into UKA. They came to UKA for the right reason. They thought UKA is not going to be infiltrated by people who have different motives, different intentions, selfish, based on their own selfish inclination. So I felt like UKA was infiltrated, and little did Shalakateka, little did they know that the very person that was defeated, the so-called failure, the person that was removed out of power. Little did they know that that very person was going to come to join them and override or take over their take over the reins of the UCA, of their alliance. So because, and when you look at this UCA thing, the moment PF joined, the moment Edgar Changwa came to join, look at what happened, including the PF themselves, the members of PF. What were they claiming? What were they saying when Edgar Changwa came and joined UCA? They were saying UCA is who? UCA is the ECL. And now, foolishly, they go and start now parading the very failure, the very person that actually had put people's lives in danger, out there to the public to say, hey, you people, we are back. This is UCA, this is the alliance. And who comes there on these political rallies? And I am so glad that the current government really gave them enough rope to hang themselves. You know, if they were so seriously, they wanted change, they wanted to defeat this government for the failures of the fails of the previous government, to fix the fails. Because what these are claiming, they are claiming the failures of PF has been failed to be fixed by HH. Therefore, HH must go because he has failed to fix the failures. You know, there's a lot of FF there. Okay? So therefore, HH must leave, must go. But then they bring one of the founder father figure of the failures, the first failure, to come in to say, mwewe akalachalo, mutule, umuntu wenu wafirirwe ulia, uyu nomba tuamuleta. Umuntu nomba tulefu ayamwe, muchite shani, muchite support. They were busy now endorsing. You heard them going, crying louder. No, we want you to endorse. We want you to endorse Edgar Changwa. He's our, he will be the face of UCA. Guess what? This was not sitting comfortably on other members of UCA, because it meant that they became now irrelevant. Oh, vene Savo Imboela, vene Chilavwe, vene Kateka Chushi, whatever the names are, Shoni Tembo, they became irrelevant. Why do you think they started now insinuating of creating another alliance on the other side? Because they saw that this UCA has been taken over now. You know, if the moment Lungu is a big figure, we know that. But is a big figure that failed the Zambian people. Many Zambian people, 2.8 million that casted their vote at that particular time, 3 years ago, are still, they were so happy. And the moment they see the same face that tormented them, that put the economy in doldrums, coming back, being introduced by the so-called hope of an alliance of the so-called opposition, they go and bring the same dirty politician, the same failure, the same person that traumatized them. The rest of the people, the continent, or the country, the population, are now introduced or subjected to secondary trauma. What do you think they will do? Edgar Changwa is a moving liability. Zambian people want answers from him. They have not gotten answers yet. He hasn't given the Zambian people the correct answer. And this is the mistake when it's Sakwiva's Kota. I thought these were smart people, but foolishly, they go ahead and start endorsing and put him as their own face, meaning their faces.
I think you have gotten this probably a little bit mixed up. What is happening? Let me bring it to you. What is happening in UCA is the figures like Sean Tembo Danny Pule and the other one who was expelled are actually championing that President Lungu should be the flag bearer of the UKA. Wow, other members of the alliance feel that they are not yet there to start appointing anybody as the flag bearer, and this is what has led to people like Sean Tembo being removed. Sean Tembo categorically states that he feels uh, President Lungu is the biggest political figure in the UKA and should be let to carry the flag of UKA because he has the largest support.
That's a terrible
That
mistake. It's the same thing, my brother.
this is why
It's the same
they
thing.
have let go of like Sean Tembo from the alliance. So it's the people that you are saying maybe are going on with President Lungu, like Swakwiba Scott, are actually saying they don't think they are there yet. But the people that have been forced to leave the alliance are the ones who are championing for Edgar Lungu. Now, what is surprising for me is that President Edgar Lungu has remained in the UKA while those who are championing for him to lead the UKA have been forced out.
So
I don't know
if
what kind of politics are being.
my brother, you have to understand politics. You know, right now, those people who have been kicked out of UKA, that goes to show that there is someone who is not telling the truth here. If at all you are championing for someone to stay, to be the face of your alliance, and then by championing that, then the rest say we are not there yet, then we are kicking you out. Something is not making sense, and when something it doesn't make sense, then it's not true. That is my thing of life. That's my way of thinking. When somebody is trying to explain things and is taking too long to explain, or it doesn't make sense, the explanation does not, then just know woofy balebepa, someone is lying. The truth of the matter is that Edgar Changwa Lungu is a subject in UKA. Whether you like it or not, the sooner they get rid of Edgar Changwa Lungu out of UKA and out of PF, you will see the opposition how they are going to sit and rally behind probably one big political party of the opposition, either Kalaba or Membe, or you will see even the rest will come in. People like Membe will even join that alliance. Right now, nobody is interested in going back Kumalushi. Sorry to say, because they see people are being tricked. Abantu bena Zambia bale mone file chitikati. Aba bantu aba bale tushinga bata pamenso. Umuntu balelanda okutira ati ewa unaole echalo. Na nkwe nalanda nokulanda nasumina okutira ati awe amakadazi bandi balepuma abantu chachine. Nefintu fimbi fyale chitamushalo tafyale londoloka yo. Fyali rubene. Numanga mwampera second chance nke saf chita correct. Nishi wafilira okuchita correct parapene nishi wakweta amaka. Lelo be mwele wise ku bantu ati yo mpeni amaka futi mbwekelepo so that I come and correct the mistakes that I created. You failed to correct the mistakes that you created in the first place. Then today you come back. So that is the only bone of contention here. UKA or with UKA or without UKA, if they only can get rid of Changwa and tell him to put him in the rightful place, go and rest Changwa, you have done your part. You failed us. We know if you did some good, you did some bad. We understand you, my brother, but you don't have the monopoly of the knowledge of leadership. Anybody can lead this country. Who knew that HH was going to be the president today, was going to lead the country today? Many people said he can't, but he is the president today. Lungu chanced that presidentship as well. We doubted, we negated him, but he became president. He was president for 7 years. He managed whatever he did, despite him making his mistakes. He did. So why should we, out of 20 million population, out of the PF presidential candidates that are 10 or 12, you mean you can't find one suitable individual that can run the presidential ship, or in UKA that can be the best, just because it's Edgar Changwalungu is the one with the monopoly of knowledge or with the leadership skills? Come on, guys. Sakwiba is well enough to become the president of that party as well. Kalama is best enough to be a candidate, presidential candidate of this country. Silavwe, being a young man, this is the chap that has disappointed the whole the youthhood. Just a chap, Silavwe and his Imboya. These are the people, these are the future leaders. But look at them. They are busy dancing to the tune of old folks that are finished product that made a lot of errors. They are busy supporting, no, let's take him, let's bring him. The mistake they made was to bring Edgar Changwalungu into that alliance. That was a terrible mistake. You don't do that. You made a mistake. And also PF, they made a mistake by bringing back Lungu, accepting him to come back. That was the biggest mistake they made. And those mistakes they have made will haunt them. The division will forever be there, because Edgar Changwalungu does not have the monopoly of knowledge or even experience.
Okay. I want us to also just probably spend a little bit of time and look at one pertinent issue that probably everybody is just busy talking about on social media, talking about it everywhere, talking about it, complaining about in almost every place in the country. And just last week, Saturday, I took a trip to Kabwe, and I think I met one old woman who was complaining so bitterly about electricity challenges and how bad her business has been ever since, and feels like the president was being very insensitive when he's told everybody to just buy solar. And she was saying, my small business cannot afford that kind of an investment at this point in time. And for the president to say that, he must know better the people that he is leading to advise and say, just go and buy solar. Now, let us look at the earnings of the Zambian, how affordable solar is, and if it's very feasible for majority of Zambians to even think of that. When you look at the wages for, let's say, civil servants, generally the minimum wage, which stands at around 1,200 kwacha per month, and solar requirements, is it feasible for majority of Zambians?
Thank you so much, my brother. Nobody is happy with the current situation that is taking place in Zambia today. And remember, our brothers in South Africa, they've had the same problems. Zimbabweans have the same problems, and now it's us, the Zambian. It has come to us, and this is not happening because somebody is doing it deliberately to punish the Zambian people deliberately. I don't think so. This is an act of our global world. When we have a problem with the drought, we have to find other alternatives. If our rivers are dry, where do we get the water from? We have to dig and chase for that water and find it, either it's underground, or we can even wake up in the mornings and use evaporation to get water. we have seen people that lives in the desert, how they survive, who don't have water. The Sani people in Botswana. So what the president has been trying to say to the Zambian people, to say, look, we are all dependent on hydro. But right now, there is no other alternative. We cannot go back to hydro because we have low water levels in our country or in our main rivers. And we have the most advanced machines that's supposed to produce power for the whole entire country. But those machines, we paid a lot of money with Zambian people under PF. We paid a lot of money for those machines to be there. But what's the use of those machines when we don't have the force that would spin those wheels? What would be the use of them? Should we just let them run on nothing, on air? Or should we allow water to go through? And if we allow water, where is that water going to come from? Do we have water? If we don't have water, when is water anticipated to come? So we are busy anticipating for the rain season. That's the dependence onto who? Either to the heavens. Those who believe in God, we simply say the rain comes from God. Those who believe in science, we say rain comes from the trees that we are busy cutting and use them on charcoal. Deforestation has impacted us to all these things. But coming to your question, my brother, the president has a heart for the Zambian people to even mention alternatives. Plan B. If plan A is failing to work, let's move on to plan B, Vane. Plan B, let's use the sun, the very sun that is sucking all the water out of our rivers. Let us utilize it, take advantage of it, and use that energy to energize ourselves, to put energy into our homes, to put power into our homes. That's why the government has a deliberate policy to either withhold duty on anyone that imports solar. Those that are doing well, those entrepreneurs, there are a lot of people that are now taking advantage of this shortage into a positive thing, because now they are into solar energy business, where they go around, they go to China, they go to other countries to buy solar and bring solar to our country. And when it reaches the border, the Zambia Revenue Authority, together with it, they don't have to charge you duty. You have to bring it either for free. That's the way we do it with agriculture incentives, agriculture equipments. So the government has put up this deliberate policy because that's the only way you can allow Zambians to also access. Of course, nothing is going to be for free. You have to work a little bit, you have to pay a little bit to earn, to have that, to enjoy that. If we have solar panels in excess, we the Zambian people are going to actually export that, or rather transfer that power, excess power, to the international, to ZESCO. ZESCO will be buying. They are mandated to buy excess power from individuals that have solar panels, who have access, who have so much power that they cannot utilize all of it, or else that power will go to waste. So the Zambian president is urging the Zambian people. We know we are a poor nation. We know we are a country that inherited a lot of debts, that have debts. We don't have the money. We don't have the capacity. Wolungu and his group emptied. They finished the coffers, the balance. There was nothing. It was in red. Now, my fellow Zambian, let's use our own initiative.
Instead of depending on the government, let's buy something. Let's buy some solar energy. Those who are smart, those who have the capacity can also go into wind, because there's wind, there's air. You can generate power from wind. One day, if we reach there, when we have the capacity, when we have enough money, we bring in investors that can come into nuclear power source, we can always do that. There's always a way out in every challenge that takes place, that we encounter in our lives. But Zambians, because we are so comfortable with hydro, and we are so comfortable by pointing a finger and pointing at the government as the people that are responsible, that are supposed to bring power into our homes. The government is saying we are struggling right now. The government is struggling. They can't bring hydro to your homes now because there's a crisis. Because of this drought, there's no food, there's no power. And when there's no power, there's less activities economically. And the economy is definitely going to be affected. But Zambians, it's high time we sat down and thought outside the box. Let's not just be dependent onto issue of Tantameni should go away. It is now us individually to save ourselves. Yes, there will be people that have no capacity to buy, to purchase, but there is always a solution. There's always a way out. We can start even buying gas. We can start buying, we can still continue doing the charcoal business, even though it is going to affect us more. There are so many ways to kill a monkey or a rat. So let us listen and buy some kind of advice from our leaders when they tell us to say, let's go solar. It's not that they don't mean well to us. They mean well for us, for them to even advise us to go solar, because they know that we cannot simply depend on one source. Mwilabika ama niyonse mu one basket. Kandi ngayatobeka. Ngayapona basket ya yonse ama niyakatobeka. So we can amani muma different, separate places, ma different. Balando kutirati, ukuchenjesha lunshi, muchibemba. Ama idioms ya chibemba. Ngamulefu okuchenjesha lunshi. Kunya pabili. Kunya pabili. So, wewe kala chao.
Now, let's look at the let's look at the impact that this load shedding is having now. You compared us with Zimbabwe, who have gone through this. You talked of South Africa, but I don't think there is any of them who have ever gone 4 days, 5 days in any part of their country without power. None of them have ever experienced that. So we are actually experiencing the worst kind of its own version. Now, let's look at the preparedness of Zambia itself. Right now, we knew by January this year, we knew that things were not working out for us. We had the idea that the rain season is not going as it's supposed to be. And we knew the repercussions of this. And I remember talking about this with a couple of my friends, colleagues at work, and we would talk about this thing and the repercussions that we would see. We spoke of the energy repercussions. We spoke of the food repercussions and things like that. But it's amazing that the government looks like they were not even prepared at all for all this. And as load shedding keeps going deeper, the more we seem to be scrambling about for solutions. We saw the president going to China to sign some deals earlier on, I think last week, signing some deals to help us with the energy crisis. Those deals would have meant more if they were signed last year as we start preparing for this whole drought. And currently, looks like there is no short-term measure that the government has in place? Zero. Nothing at all. They simply have left the citizen to say, well, you have to endure this. If you look at South Africa itself, South Africa was really at their lowest, but they managed to ensure that they get power this side, that side, and things like that, so that they could manage to at least give something to their citizens. But a lot of households in Lusaka right now are counting days without electricity. One bit. People at household level have had to throw away their relish. They have had to do this and that. They are not able to do A, B, C, D, and the ripple effect is actually dire. What is the government doing for short-term solution? That is, that people should look out for and say, well, probably next week things will stabilize a little bit. We can say at least we'll have at least 1 hour of power every single day, even if the situation is bad.
It's quite unfair to hear you telling or asking a question to say the government has no short-term plans and has not done anything to its people, has totally neglected the Zambian people. I don't think that's a very fair statement. I'm not trying to support the government, but I'm a fan of social media. I read, on social media. I know what is going on. The government does issue statements every month. The Minister of Energy, the Minister of Information, they do issue information on what step the government has taken towards the mitigation of. But the thing is, you, the Zambian people, choose what to hear. You choose when you see a government official talking, because you're already judging them. You're already making assumptions on their behalf. You don't pay attention on the details, what they are saying. You'd rather go when you see ECL, Emmanuel Mwamba, whatever, what's the name, Nakachinda, you know for sure that these are guys that are going to talk about things when they are not even in control of the information. They don't even know what's going on in the government. Those are the people that you choose to listen to. Instead of listening to the government, none of you even watch ZNBC. Whatever is happening on the news, you don't know what's happening in the country. You choose to switch on to BBC. You'd rather listen to the news from abroad than the news that is taking place within your local, what the government has said, So you cannot blame the government for failure to disseminate the information when you are the people who are choosing what to hear. The Zambian people, most of the Zambian people want to hear drama, insults, and name calling. When you want to talk about something that is developmental, something that is going to affect them, the policies about the government's position on this, you choose to go to the next page, or you go to TikTok and start looking at these videos, the funny videos, because you don't pay attention to what is happening, what the government is saying. But when the government makes a simple error, just a little mistake, oh my God, that would be the talk of the year. So it is the type of information flow that is coming to us. We choose what to hear. We don't want the truth. We want to make ourselves comfortable with the message that would make us, but we don't want to listen to the government. The government, in this case, they have really stated their positions many times, and some of the policies have been implemented, like I said earlier, on the issue of taking out the taxes or the duty onto solar panels. Those that are bringing solar, they are paying either less, if not nothing, if not it's free, it's duty free. Or if there's a fee, it has been reduced to a very minimal amount. That is to make sure that the government, the people that are buying those solars, are helped
the government is looking into that to say, how do we make our citizens benefit? That's one of the policy. Secondly, the government has brought in investors that are working. They have signed a lot of memorandum of understandings, a lot of MOUs with other neighboring countries on the future energy supply. And we have heard already about the Tanzania electrical, that importing of Tanzania hydropower, which will be fed into our national grid. We have heard so many, the government through their parastato ZESCO has opened up other places that there are some rivers that have been given to private. Now, the issue of being monopoly, the ZESCO being one-sided, is now going down. That they are allowing other companies to come in and invest in hydro to run some, power stations in a country where they are going to produce power and feed that power into our national grid. So these are efforts being made by the government to mitigate the current situation. The immediate solutions are to decrease on power sharing. How do you share this? Instead of one part of the country enjoying 24/7 power, let us demarcate, let us divide, let us share. Of course, there will be some that are really unfairly treated, which is a managemental issue. If you go to ZESCO and talk to them and complain, definitely they may come up with a solution, because I believe it is not fair for other people to be given power 24/7 for the next 1 week or 3 days continuously, yet other parts of the country, they are not given power for weeks, that they are completely off, there's no power. To me, that is so unfair, and that is an administrative issue that need to be resolved administratively within the Zambia Electricity Company management. And of course, the government can intervene. There are places that are very important that needs power 24/7, mortuaries, hospitals, fire brigades, police stations. These are places that we need power to be supplied 24/7. Mines that have been opened where we are getting money to run our economy. We need those mines to operate. If we take away power from the mines, then all the efforts of reopening the mines that were dead, then will just go in a drain. So let us how do we share? So it is really the duty of Zambia, the ZESCO, of course, through the Ministry of Energy as well, to ensure that power is distributed to the citizen equitably, with few exceptions from places that are of importance. You don't need power in State House. Switch it off. You don't need power to these political places, whatever. Switch them off. Take power to people in the hospitals, to power to those important areas where people, you share equitably. You cannot distribute. It's unfair to give power to just one area just because ndiye kunkala ma ministers or machinondo. To me, that's not okay. If anything,
But is that not what is happening?
But if anything, that is now the issue that we need to talk about, because if anything, Bachinondo can afford my solar panels. If anything, my compounds, that's where they're supposed to put those electricity to stop the criminal activities. My compound kuli bantu bamene bakangiwa kugula ma solar panels bapereke bapaseni malight. Mayadi Kabronga kuja. Those have the money. They can buy solar panels within a day. By Namagensets, they can afford even to buy fuel. They have the capacity. So if I were you, if I was the people in government, I would urge the government to switch off power from Kablonga, Highbex, Kasama. Where does the president live?
New Kasama.
New Kasama. Switch off. Yes, switch off the power there. Don't give them power for 2 months, 1 year. Give the power to Chawama compound, Kalingalinga, Mtendere, Chivolia, those places that needs power, where people cannot afford. That is where you put power. But remember, even when you supply power to those people, it's not going to be supplied to them for free. They are paying for it. So, Bajabakuma New Kasama, them can afford. Put them, leave them, cut the line. They have the power. So that's one of my alternative solutions that the Zambian people should now look at to say, because you guys can afford, the rich, since you are the ones that pay more tax, so you can afford to even pay less tax when you bring in my solar panels. So let these people, my poor people, have, and those in rural areas, have power. Give them 3 hours, 10 hours, whatever power. Imawok Manyu Kasama, zero. The whole year. No power because you can afford. You have the capacity. That's how you distribute. So that's my take on that one. Otherwise, Zambians, just listen to the government. Go online. Use your bundles on kuma ministries. Check what each ministry has issued my statements. Ngati mwakangiwa, go to Ministry of Information website. You find Veni Tawokawana there, Veni Mwetwa, they have issued the statements and statements over what is going on in the country. Read, listen. Don't go to Veni Chirufyatayari, Veni Ndani. Those are just going to mislead you because they have no information. They are thriving and being paid on innuendos, propaganda, and drama. Listen to the government of the day if you want the real news and the real deal. Nandrama Zama CDF zone says, listen to the government's position. Don't listen to people that are not in those offices. Those are just going to waste your energy and raise your BP for nothing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, how about
Sure.
we look at the businesses that have collapsed as a result of this load shedding. How far are we going to go to ensure that these small SMEs are resuscitated after we come out of this particular predicament?
Well, I cannot speak for the Ministry of SMEs, the small scales, whatever.
I'm only asking for your suggestions.
Well, I would suggest that it will be, if funds are available, I would suggest that the ministry, in collaborating with, they should collaborate with many commercial banks to beef up, to give some soft loans or incidental loans with very, very low rates, so that they could revamp their businesses, to inject a little bit of capital and, into their businesses, just to cushion this harsh financial the crisis that they've undergone. But also, I would suggest that also the entrepreneurs to think as well outside the box, that most of their businesses should not depend onto only hydro. They should also source outside the scope of the hydro to go and source for power elsewhere in other areas. They can have the genesets. They should just calculate how much it's gonna cost them fuel and whatever product they may produce at the end of the day. And when we see prices getting a little bit high, we know for sure that they have encompassed all these small challenges that are in place. Of course, things will won't be cheap, to be expensive a little bit because of other costs, they have incurred during production of their whatever products. So we have to understand the situation right now, that it's a domino effect. When we have drought, look at the effects. The effect has gone all over, even including water from the ground, where we can't even pump our own water because we don't have electricity, we don't have water. There are so many things that are going to be affected, even other small essentials, vegetables. Kulibe manzi otirira ma vegetables. Mairo ma vegetables mukaenda pa city market yambodula by 2 kwacha extra. You have to understand, you don't have to protest, but you have to understand to say, this farmer needs to also compensate or recover the costs that he spent when producing these vegetables. So there will be increase in all these commodities. What we as citizens, we just need to understand, of course, we want everything to be cheap for us. But remember, my fellow Zambians, that we have never been rich as a whole country. There has never been a time where we had everything on a silver platter. We have been fighting for everything. Mini meals, we have been talking of mini meal prices, Kachwishi, from way, way back. We have even been rioting, Muliwa Kaunda era. And that has been the issue. There's never been a time where we say, oh, Hungamwandi, now cheaper this time around, now cheaper. No, the prices have been going up and up and up. But the good thing is that we decided to venture into agriculture, to grow our maize in abundance, and then we kept our own maize. People in rural areas don't even know. They are not even complaining about ubunga. Ubunga, people are complaining about ubunga ni fuevo kalama muma town mumi. But people in villages, those that grew their own maize, they are enjoying themselves, apart from this issue of the drought that came in and disturbed the whole cycle. So that's why now the government comes in to step in and start giving relief food. But we cannot depend on government alone. This is where now, Imumwebe Kalama town, send money to my village. Those people who are busy producing food for you to eat, those are now hungry. Send them money. Give them money, then they can buy food or do other things in villages. Help them. Even though you are struggling as well, but we need to help our brothers and sisters that are in the rural areas that are also that are mostly affected as well, because they are the people who are directly affected, because their crops were destroyed. There was no crop. There was fertilizer, they bought everything, but unfortunately drought took everything up from them. So tufire twabatwalira ku MPia, mwabaposera ku MPia, mwabaposera ko tuma support tumubunga, even if you wongo now would do, but one day, it's not just one day, because very soon we'll get back to ourselves. Ubunga bukachipa, bukawela, because there will be a bumper harvest in the future, where people grow maize, a lot of maize, where we will fail where to even take,
Okay.
And now we should also think twice about.
Let me just ask you. Let me just ask you to wind up because of time. Probably you can also conclude your point. with your concluding remarks so that we can wind up, and then we'll pick it up next week.
Okay. What was your question? Should I just wind up?
Yeah, you can wind up.
Okay. We've discussed about the lacuna issue. We've talked about UCA. We've talked about the high cost of living. We've talked about the electricity load shedding problems, and of all these problems, we simply say the government has this issue in their sight, and they are working tirelessly to fix these problems. And I don't understand why my fellow Zambians today, because of the things that they can see with their own eyes, that these are made not by the politicians, but these challenges we are facing, they are just made because of some nature. And for us to go back and hold the current leadership responsible, because at one point they mentioned to say, if in Dubai there's drought, there's no rain, how come they have this and yet us we have this? Then there's leadership problems. I find that comparison to be a little bit bizarre and a little bit unfair, especially given the fact that this government, when it came into power, you know the economy they found, you know what they found, because you know what they inherited. And for us to simply say they have failed to fix the failure of the PF, I feel that that statement is very unfair to you Zambians, and this is going to haunt us if we decide today and tomorrow to say, let's chuck this government out because we're judging them for what they have failed to fix. These problems, most of these problems that were created with intentions or with recklessness by the previous government, and if this government is not completely eradicating those problems, I don't think we should hold them accountable. We are being disingenuous, and we need to give them time to fix this, because what they were coming to work for was to come to work for the Zambian people, not to come and fix the problems that were created by people that had no intentions that had bad intentions of this country. So we should never rally behind a person that introduced us to these problems that brought or that manufactured these problems that we are facing today. He is responsible for this, and I don't see any reason why the Zambian people, you should even rally behind, chase him, and sing those praising songs, Alewele Lapo, when you know that he is the reason why you are where you are today. This 3-year government that has been in a government for 3 years will try by all means, is trying, despite having inherited whatever difficulties they have. Look at where we are. Zambia could have been worse. This government could have actually been, the country could have been broke completely. But they have managed to keep us above water. Our heads are up there. And we have hope and trust that this government is going to make Zambia a better place tomorrow. And this issue of load shedding, it will be the thing of the past. This issue of meal prices going up, it will actually come down, because investment has already been pumped in. Those trips that the president made were not made for nothing. They will come to pass. The dividends are yet to come for us Gambians to enjoy. So let's not rush by judging this government harshly.
I'll have to
Let's
cut
give
you
them
short.
time.
And thank you so much for having found time to be with us. We want to thank each and everyone who was listening in to this program. And we hope to see you next week as we start and settle on our new day, that is Saturday. Good night and see you next time.
Thank you.